me share you out.
Good old theme song right there.
Man, I've been jamming all day long, like had my headphones in, and every 5 minutes somebody's coming in here. I'm like, leave me alone. Um, where are we live? Let's see. Aha, we are live. Put it over here.
Didn't even do a countdown or hey, how's it going?
Oh, yeah, you didn't see the countdown?
No.
Oh, I would have counted down for you. I'm sorry.
I didn't look up and realize it was counting down.
Oh,
You're supposed to do that for me.
I'm sorry.
You're
Well, we
fine.
can't start over. It's too late.
No, it's fine. It's fine. You're already started.
Okay, let's see. I gotta share. Okay, so while I'm sharing here, I'm gonna just go over the intro. Okay, so everybody coming in, welcome to Harlots of Spooktalk, Ladies of the Night. I am your host, LD Pteloma, and tonight we're diving deep in the chilling world of ghost stories that will send shivers down your spine. Whether you're a skeptic or a believer, there's something undeniably captivating about tales of the supernatural, those eerie encounters that linger in shadows and haunts our imaginations. Joining me today is a very special guest, Tiffany, a true and paranormal enthusiast. Tiffany has spent countless hours of exploring the darker corners of the world. She's here to share her insight and help us unravel some of the most spine tingling ghost stories submitted by our listeners and found on Reddit. So grab your favorite blanket, turn off the light, and prepare to the journey into the unknown. Before we dive in tonight, tale of terrors, let's take a moment, to keep our dear friend Carly in our thoughts and prayers. She's currently weathering some storms, not both, literal, actually. And we know she'll be back with us next week, ready to share her own spooky insights. So sit back, relax, and let's embark on the haunted adventure together. Get ready for scary encounters that will make your heart race and your skin crawl. Welcome to Harlots of Spook Talk. Let's get started. Okay, so I'm going to share this. And I got a couple things I should have done when I got on here, and I didn't do it. Okay, do this one.
Good job.
Okay. Okay, I gotta. Carly says, it feels so dark here. There's no sounds.
Uh-uh.
Oh, no.
Sing songs.
Should we send her a video singing Ring Around the Rosie?
No, you're gonna scare her.
Should we sing? She's gonna kill me.
Yeah. I don't have any part in this.
She's gonna come back and watch this too. All right, here we go. Let's start with our
This is a
first.
100% true story that happened to a woman in Madison, Wisconsin. Now, there was this woman named Sherry who moved into this house with her two children in Madison, Wisconsin. Now, she said, at the time she didn't believe in anything supernatural. She really thought that was a bunch of nonsense. But she said, right away when they moved in, she would notice, out of the corner of her eye, sometimes shadows moving across the walls. She would hear strange noises that she couldn't explain. But she said for the most part, it was just a normal house. One night, she's upstairs in her bedroom and she's folding laundry. She hears talking coming from her son's room. So she makes her way over to his room. The door's closed, and she hears her son having a full-on conversation with someone. And she's like, "Who is he talking to? At
No.
12:30 at night?" So she opens the door, and when she looks in his room, he is not in his bed. So she starts yelling for him. She looks down and sees him next to the side of his bed, on his knees, crouched down, with his head under the bed, talking to someone. And she's like, "Hey, who are you talking to? Like, who's under there?" And her son's like, I can't tell you. And she said, "What do you mean you can't tell me? Like, who's under the bed?" And he's like, "I can't say. He'll get mad." And she's like, "What? Who's under there?" So she runs over to the bed and she looks underneath there. It's empty. There's nothing under there. So she's like, "You know what? Just get back in bed. Like, just stop, doing whatever you're doing." Several weeks pass, and like on a regular basis, she keeps finding her son talking to someone under the bed, except there's no one there. So after a few weeks of this happening, she thinks maybe something is wrong with her son. So she takes him to this child therapist. The therapist like assesses him and says, he seems completely fine. It's probably just his imagination. So several months pass and he keeps on doing this. Well, one day she's sitting down in the living room with him and they're talking when she notices he has some scratches and bruises like all over his body. And she's like, "Where did you get those scratches and bruises from? Like, what's going on?" And he's like, "I can't say. I can't tell you." And she's like, "Yes, you have to tell me, like, what is going on with you?" And finally he breaks down and he starts crying and stuff. And he just starts freaking out. And then he runs up to his room. So the mom, at this time is like, I don't know what to do. Like, what is going on with my son? Like, she's just panicking. Later that night, she's awoken to her son screaming in his bedroom. She runs as fast as she can. She goes in his room. She finds him halfway underneath the bed. He's grabbing onto the bed frame, and it looks like something is pulling him under the bed. So she immediately grabs him, pulls him out from under the bed. She looks under there. There's no one there. So she's like, "You know what? This is weird. Like, you're sleeping with me tonight. You're going to be in bed with me tonight." So they go back to her bedroom. He lays down. He falls asleep. She's sitting in bed. She can't sleep. She's like freaked out about this whole situation. When all of a sudden she
Yeah.
hears, "Shh, hey, come under the bed." And she's like, "What?" She looks over.
Bitch, say what? Like, no. Okay, we'll continue. I'm sorry. I'm like, what?
Her son is sleeping. But then once again, she hears, "Hey, come here under the bed. I need to talk to you." And it's like a man's
Take me to
voice.
dinner first.
And
Gosh.
she's like, "No, no, who are
Buy
you?
me a
Like, go
drink.
away." And the man's like, "Come on, get under the bed. I need to tell you something." And like, she's like, "No, I'm not going under the bed." And she said
Does he
this
have
man,
puppies?
whoever he was, just started yelling obscenities and getting really angry. So she grabs her son. They get out of the house. And she said she left that night and never went back. And still to this day, that house sits there. And she said she's talked to the neighbors, and they said since she's moved, like several families have lived there and they move out immediately.
Okay, so this design is so annoying. What the hell? Okay, so this reminds me of like, okay, so when I was in that women's shelter, right? Like we were like heavily going to church, like a lot. You remember that church phase for me? Yeah, that was rough. So, anyway, so there would be like little things that happen in the house all the time. That's where like I learned a lot of like my gift, learned how to control it a lot better. And oh my gosh, so there was so much that happened. I can't even go through each story because there's a lot of them that led up to this point. But so every night, I would have like, actually, this is why I started that. I would listen to my Bible until I would go to sleep. I would have it on the app back in the day, and then I would just let it. And
Back
so
in
the
the day.
kids were, yeah, it was. It was a long time ago.
I
So the
know it
kid,
was a very long time ago.
oh, so the kids were sleeping on their bunk bed, and one of my kids starts growling in his sleep. And I was like, hell no. And he's like, he already sleeps with his eyes open. Okay, so you already know which kid this is. Like,
Yeah.
it's not the
You
oldest.
just made it obvious.
The one that sleeps with his eyes open. And he just starts growling. I'm like, oh, hell no. Like, he sits up. Okay, I think the kitten's making noise because that's been creeping me out. Oh, someone's in the kitchen. Okay, so I was like, what is that noise? So he like says he just I don't know, he just sat up and he started growling and I was like, oh hell no, hell no. And then this little like balloon, this little black balloon, the same one we had seen a couple days ago, twist, was moving around all up in my closet and I was like, oh hell no. So I started really playing the Bible every night, put a Bible open under his pillow and everything, and just prayed over him. Oh, that was scary. That's what it reminded me of. What would you do if somebody was like, come under the
Unless you got tacos and margaritas, I ain't going.
bed? What if they were like, I have tacos and margaritas?
I don't believe you unless you show them to me.
I need the smell to come up here. I need some kind of sign that it really is.
Right?
No, like, I would be able to smell tacos. All of a sudden, you
Yeah.
just hear a drink shake, like a drink shaker or something. You're like, oh.
No, I like them frozen, so redo.
You hear the blender in the kitchen. You're like, I'll meet you in the kitchen. How's that? Like,
That works better. Like, what creep would go under the bed? I don't want to go under the bed. It's like the boogeyman.
that sounds like there's definitely something there. What if it is
Mhm.
just like a ghost? It's like, I just want to hang out. I'm lonely under here. I'd be like, well, then come out of the damn, go outside.
What if they're hiding from somebody?
Who they hiding from? Because it's just me. It's just me here. You ain't even here. So who else could be here besides me and me? Like, what is you doing?
They could be scared of you.
I am pretty scary.
Sometimes, yeah.
Between my snoring, I'd be scared too. Uh,
Uh, the belly
so,
laugh.
oh my god. Okay, so I'm gonna play another video and then I'll go over these stories.
Tell me, what's the creepiest experience you ever had in your life?
So I work in advertising where we produce and shoot commercials for various clients. One of the commercials we were working on required a set that looked like a 1980s Irani hospital. And we're Utah based, so that's something that's really hard to find here. Luckily, our producer tracked down this it had been an old nursing home and a mental hospital back in the day, and it was no longer in use. It was really old and kind of grungy looking. It was perfect. We go there, and as soon as I walk through the door, I just feel this bad vibe, like in the pit of my stomach. I just felt gross. It was just this weird energy in that building, and it's kind of funny because our art director walked in the door. Well, this isn't funny, but as soon as he walks in, he just throws up all over the place. And I don't know if he had been sick before, but he was definitely extremely sick in that building. He ended up curling up on an old hospital bed and just throwing up the rest of the day. I actually had to go buy him a bucket because he was so sick. He probably should have gotten the heck out of that place, but I think he was too sick to drive even. I felt so bad. Anyway, on our lunch break, I was talking to our hair and makeup lady, and she knew a little bit more about the building because I went in completely blind, and she was like, yeah, a lot of weird things have been known to happen here, and there's a lot of weird stuff in here. There's supposedly this old electroshock therapy chair in the basement, and I was like, oh, I want to go see the
Nope.
electric
No.
chair in the basement.
No,
That
you
sounds like a
don't.
fun adventure,
Yeah.
and being naive, and just wanting a thrill. I was like, oh, let's go explore. And we had the whole building locked down for ourselves. There was no one else but our film crew there. So together we just kind of go prancing through the hallways, looking in rooms, and we get to the edge of this really long
Get it,
hallway
girl.
that's completely covered in a green carpet. And she goes, oh my gosh, this is called the Green Mile. I've heard of this. And I'm like, what's the Green Mile? And she said, it's the hallway where they used to wheel patients out to surgery. And there's a lot of stories about this hallway. And as soon as we're standing there, she all of a sudden just freezes and like looks down into the abyss of the hallway, towards the end. And I follow her gaze, and this door comes open, and this huge figure just glides across the hallway. And it's completely black. It's kind of like distorted, oblong, humanoid, but bulbous. Its head was like kind of bulbous, and it just glides across the carpet, goes into this other door, and that door just slams shut. I'm in complete shock. We are just staring frozen down this hallway, and I'm gonna have to do part 2. Sorry, guys.
Dang, I didn't realize there was a part 2.
She only gave us part 1 of that.
Sorry. Oh my gosh. I have always, oddly enough, I've always wanted to go to like a haunted insane asylum.
Let's go.
Out of all the places, you'd be like, no, I want to go. Because let's go. Forget the trip next month. Let's just go somewhere even further and go to a haunted asylum. Stay for a week.
Yeah.
I don't know if I could do a week. I'll try one night.
Well, I wouldn't stay the night there. You want to stay the night there?
No. I know. You generally, I think when you do those like tours or you do the hauntings and stuff, it's good to go during dead time, and you generally stay only like 4 or 5 hours.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I would do.
But normally, wouldn't you not want to go at 3 a.m.?
I could do 3 a.m. though. I'm okay with
No.
3. No, I mean, because if they're going to come out, they're going to come out at 9. They're going to come out at 3.
Yeah, but you just gotta give them, it's their time.
It's 3 a.m. What
You're
are you doing?
disturbing their peace.
Oh, well, the 3 a.m. would be their me time, I would suppose.
So why would we disturb them when they want to go party?
Because we are the party. Duh.
No, not for them.
Yeah, they're like, oh, I'm awake. I'm awake, yes. Who are we going to spook today? There's a human and they can see me. Yeah, we are the party. I'm just saying, can you imagine being like stuck like that in a building for the rest of your eternity until you figure out what your unfinished business is? And the problem with people, they are stingy. I'm like, send them asshats to the light. Send them right to the light. I send them to the light. You got better places than to be in my bedroom staring at me at 2 a.m. You know what I'm saying? Like, this isn't the life for me or you. You need to go.
No, because you snore.
Everybody snores. It's
No,
normal.
we do. I snore too.
I'm
So
like,
what's the joy of standing there watching me sleep when I'm gonna
When
just
I-
snore?
oh, sorry. Okay, so what I have learned is normally you just take the blanket, but now I'm come back for vengeance, and so whoever sleeps with me, I'm taking that blanket. Unless it's hot as hell, then it's all yours.
You trying to say something?
Yeah, you're a blanket hog.
I love my blankets, okay?
I know. I'd be like over there in the corner, just freezing to death, like.
No, it's fine. It's fine. You're gonna miss it.
Uh, yeah.
You already missed it.
Not during the winter though. Not during the winter.
Oh, I bring my own blankets.
All right. So, oh wait, where to go? We keep getting off topic. Okay. So, this is a short story. This is a new short. No, it's not a short story. Well, it's kind of. Yes, it's a short story. This was just posted 16 hours ago. This is from OK Bandicoot 9445. It's the title is Two Nights My Dad and I Will Never Forget. 20 years and some change. We still talk about it now and then. Okay, so it says okay. So this might be a long story, and I have never ever shared it before on Reddit, but it's 100% true. My dad can absolutely attest to it, so here it goes. This happened when I was about 10 years old. It has always been known that the family who lived in my childhood home before us had a daughter and who had passed away from cancer at a very young age. She did not pass away in the house, but a local hospital. Ooh, I got a story after this. Okay, so I had gotten weird vibes in the house, but only in the basement. I grew up in the house from age 3 to 18. My basement had a little makeshift basketball court in it. I would shoot hoops nightly down there. We had a huge black stereo that I would listen to music while I was shooting hoops. For some reason, every single time I had gotten done shooting hoops, I would absolutely storm up the stairs of the basement and refuse to look into this particular corner of it because it had always given me that feeling like I was being watched by someone or something. You know, that feeling so much to the point that I had convinced myself if I were to look in that corner while walking up the stairs, I would see someone standing there. I know that feeling. So one night, shooting hoops, I went upstairs and got in my bed to get ready for sleep. My dad and I laid down at the exact same time in separate rooms, though. I can't make this up. Within minutes of laying down, my dad came knocking on my door and told me that I forgot to turn the stereo off. I had literally no idea what he was talking about because I was sure I did. He said, "The stereo is absolutely blaring." He went down to the basement and the stereo was blaring in the pitch dark. This story gets even more wild. About a week later, maybe not even, I got done shooting hoops again and I laid in bed. I kid you not, all capital letters. You can ask my dad. As I lay in bed, I started hearing what sounded like bouncing. I could hear the noise coming through the vent in the corner of my room. I put my ear up to the vent, and all of a sudden I understood what I was hearing and froze. My basketball was dribbling. I ran into my dad's room. He put his ear up to the vent and heard the exact same thing. He went downstairs to the basement, and this time it was still and quiet. No sound, no dribbling, just darkness. The That vent in the corner of the room was directly over the corner of the basement that I had always had a super weird vibes. To this day, my dad and I will joke about it, but every now and again, this happened 20 years or so ago, but it's something we both will and never forget, permanently etched in the memory of our minds, that's for sure. I've never posted it in this subreddit before, and I had no idea it existed until tonight, but I've always been wanting to share the story I experienced with my youth. I thought it would be a perfect place to. Thank you for reading. Wow.
Just sounds like an old house that makes noise.
It's like, I hate saying the word, but it seems to really come up a lot when we talk about paranormal stuff. I guess because it just kind of goes with the category. But you can have like M words, like get that sound. I keep wanting to call it an echo because I've been watching that show. So I'm like, it's an echo. It's not an echo. It's a M word, and they get those sounds, and they can look almost identical to like me or you, or they could play sounds that are very identical to me and you.
Ah, I know what you're. Okay.
I don't want to say the word. I
Why?
haven't. I don't know. It just freaks me out. And then our friend Carly. She got some
Yeah, you better
stuff.
watch what you say though.
Yeah. It's true, but it's wild. So I think for you, you had footsteps. Okay, so I was thinking of, I had a ghost story in the beginning and I can't remember. Hold on, let me go back on the story because I'm like, what was it? That's gonna bug me now. Childhood, young age, hospital, vibes, basement. Uh, I don't remember.
You don't remember.
I don't remember. But it is crazy. Like, but I have had those experiences. I don't know if you have, where you're like, okay, I know someone's staring at me, and you just feel like you're going crazy, but you're like, I don't
Oh,
like it. I don't like the vibe.
100%.
Like, it's just so heavy, you know? Oh my
Everybody has
gosh.
them because it feels like someone's watching you.
I'm like, hell no, I'm
No, but
uncomfortable.
kids, kids can, I guess, they have a better sense of this. I mean,
Well, yeah, for the most part, like, they're just, I mean, they're so young and they're innocent and they don't really understand. Sometimes it just really depends on the situation. Sometimes they don't understand what's going on. I like watch a lot
mhm,
of stories where like people remember like their past lives. I notice like kids always, not always, but they are more likely to remember them, you know, and like the details on them is just crazy. Now,
and then we look at them like they're crazy.
yeah, I remember
Like,
when one of them was a little baby. He would, one of my kids, he would just, I don't know, it was like someone was always talking to him at the crib. And, you know, his dad was like, oh, yeah, it's just my dad. And I'm like, no, this is way heavier than your
yeah,
dad.
no, I remember that. Yeah,
I was like,
yeah, no,
I think I remember having this conversation with you. I was like, this just doesn't make any sense because it's just
no,
too heavy. If it was somebody you knew, it wouldn't feel like that, you know?
no.
So,
It's a negative because
mm,
yeah, because you're right. Because if it was someone you knew, you don't feel like that because
yeah.
we have people like that all the time.
But I also, at the same time, not to contradict myself, I have, you know, done the ghostwriting thing and thought that I was talking to somebody that I was talking to, but it turned out it wasn't that person. Like my hair literally got moved, and I was like, oh. And I was a little scared. I was a little spooked, but I'm like, dang.
Yeah, your mom's old house freaked me out all the time too.
Oh my gosh. Are you talking about the one with the two story or the one story?
Yeah, remember? Yeah, the I didn't know she had one story, so
Yeah.
no,
Yeah. So
it was the two story. I remember because that one was
so yeah, we get, my sister always tells me to do stories on that one, but I always tell her like,
me
for me,
too.
it was like there was a lot of stuff that happened, but there wasn't a lot of ghosts. Like, now that I look back at it, it seemed like there was always something going on. I think it's just me, you know, because in the house, I remember there was a boy that he would just be over there by the stairs a lot. He was always by the stairs, but he
Yes,
never bothered anybody. But then my brother had this blue dress lady that created chaos. I don't know. And I was telling this story a while back.
you
Um,
told me this before too. Yeah.
yeah. So, and you were there because I always put your name in the story. I'm like, yeah. And then I could not find my keys. That was the first ghost ever to call me a B word. And I was like telling my
You're
brother,
like,
it was
no.
just it was just as quiet as the energy is right now. Like, I don't know if it feels like that over where you're at, but like the last couple days, I think it's because we're in cancer season, and so everything just kind of quieted down. It's the weirdest thing. So it was like that in the room, just quiet and stagnant. And then I was telling him, I'm like, okay, I know who your ghost is. I know how it came to be. And I told my brother, And I told him blue dress, what she looked like and everything. All of a sudden, the air went from okay to boom. And he was like, oh, you pissed her off. And that's exactly what I did. And by telling him, because she would just hide all my shit. One of them was particularly, I'm still mad about this. She hid my keys. And I was like, couldn't I looked everywhere, all of that house. I think you were in a grumpy mood. And I was like, you know what? You're just gonna have to come pick me up because I cannot find these damn keys. And then when I get back, where did I find them? Right under my pillow where I looked 30 times. And I was like, oh, this bitch thinks she's funny.
Oh,
I
I
swear to
thought it was
God.
funny.
I was like, you need to come pick me up. I was gonna drive, but like,
I
oh,
remember. I remember. I was like, "Are you kidding?"
I don't remember where we needed to go, but it was somewhere important. Maybe we needed to go to the
Everywhere we went was important.
that's, that's true.
Where are y'all guys going at midnight? We're going to get coffee.
Oh my God, I miss that so much. You just have no idea. I don't know if they're open this late out here.
Mickey D's is all the time.
Well, I don't know about out here. I thought everything closed at like 10, 11 o'clock. Go. Oh, excuse me. Oh my gosh.
Kids.
Teenagers. So needy. Um, okay, so anyways, but yeah. Okay, so do you want another story? You know, you know whose house was creepy? It starts with an R in Lexington.
You thought his house was creepy?
Yeah, I thought his house was creepy. I always thought that there were like people walking around the field.
Hello, he has cows.
Well, those are cows. And then there was like this tree. I always really liked that tree.
Well, you know how many people go in and out of that place all the time?
Yeah, that's true. But
We
I
roamed
think
that
to a certain
property many
extent,
of times.
I think to a certain extent, he always thought I was crazy. Like not the, like he knows I'm crazy, but I don't think he was like I always thought that he thought I was not fun crazy. Okay, so
He was just a grumpy old man, okay? He still is a grumpy
this
old
little
man.
grumpy old man.
He's just one grumpy old man. He needs,
Here's
yeah.
here's a very short one. This is by Decoy Rebel 7777. I saw my first ghost. This was 2 days ago. I worked at the hospital as a housekeeper, and our headquarters was in the basement. There was some remodeling done because they were turning old, spacious rooms into the break room for housekeeping. I was signing back in after lunch, and nobody was near me. And I saw someone out of my peripheral. I thought it was a shadow of a person, but I looked over and realized nobody was there. But I went up to be soon break room, and I said hello there, as I always did, but nobody answered. And I found out right afterwards that the construction crew wasn't even there at the time. It was like a shadow, but I didn't even feel scared at all. Huh? That's
Well, you're in a
interesting.
hospital, for one. Your headquarters is in the basement. That's, yeah.
I have a story that I
We
want you to read.
all, but we all know what happens in the basement.
What happens in the basement?
You know, have you ever not seen a horror movie without a basement?
This is true.
No, I take that back. I just lied because there are some horror movies without basements.
I watched a horror movie the other day. I have watched two this year. I say I only watch one a year, and now I watch two, and I'm like, oh my
Which
god.
two? Girl, you're about to watch like 10.
Well, I rewatched The Conjuring, but I want to watch all the Conjurings with you. And then
I love that. Are we gonna do the whole Conjuring universe? That would be fun.
I'm gonna let you pick them out because I don't understand which ones go in order. But we're gonna
Don't
watch
worry.
all of them.
Me and me and one of my friends down here, we have done that.
Oh,
We have watched we have watched them all in order because they don't go in it's the Conjuring universe. You got me excited.
yeah, those ones I do like. And then I watched. I don't remember what the name of it was. I don't know. It was about a clock. It was like horror mixed in
Oh,
with
with the
Conjuring
clock.
with the pot.
You said a
The clock.
clock.
Yeah, it has the clock. It has like a little like sand thing, and it would turn over, and every single time, like they would be killed before it ran out. But then when it reset that night, they would come back to life, and they would. It was like a game. I don't know. Hold on, I can find out what the name of the movie was. If
That
this would
sounds
load,
weird.
it was. But it was. I give it an 8 out of 10. I was like, I don't know,
What was it called?
trying to find out, but I was trying to also send you a ghost story if you want to read this one.
No.
No, well, okay, I got another one, but let me see while we wait for this. Oh my gosh, it gets so quiet, it drives me crazy. Uh,
Uh, what was the okay, you said a horror movie
yeah,
with a
okay, so
with a
I
clock.
asked. Yeah, I don't know if he's asleep. But no, it has like a what is those? It has the sand and those little timer things, and you flip it over,
Yeah, a timer.
and it has a bunch of teenagers. But like teenagers search for sister horror film. Um,
The
and they
countdown?
it could be the countdown. No,
Oh no, that one's the one where you download an app kind of yeah, I remember that.
horror where the sister and her friends die over and over again until dawn.
Oh, I don't think I've seen that one.
That's pretty good. It was interesting.
Oh, that's like
Okay,
brand new-ish.
yeah.
Oh,
Okay,
I think
so Dizzy Yak 90 wrote this on Reddit as well. My time when I encountered an entity face to face. I don't believe in ghosts, not in a very like obsessed way. I've seen people too. Oh my god, is she talking about us? Okay,
no.
I'm gonna forget that line. I am offended. Just kidding. Though the story is a bit of a wild ride and could probably be a mistake on my part, really, but it's also such a weird event in my life. I've never really been able to move on from it as it's those friends get together. I bring this shit up and they eat it up every time. So I was in sixth grade when it happened. It was an art period, and the students are led into another room, which is on the upstairs for clear vision. First through first grades were on the upper floor with the art room, and sixth to 10th were on the bottom floor. Anyways, while we were all led upstairs by the teacher, I realized I left my pencil box back in the class, which is very strange because I usually take everything with me, but I also forget shit sometimes, so I shrugged it off and I went to get it back. I entered the empty classroom, walked over to my desk, and began checking in my bag for my pencil. When out of nowhere, I literally heard the faintest and a very low voice, "Excuse me." That was "excuse me" if y'all didn't hear me. It was a very young girl standing at my door of the classroom wearing our school uniforms with very short hair. You know, those terrible up to the ear, like of short. I can't really remember her face anymore because this was like 7 year old memory of mine, but she was very adorable, and I'll leave it at that. I asked her if everything was all right, and she asked if I happened to have any crayons on me. Now, for a little bit of fun fact about me, I never carry crayons with me all the time because they're a bit expensive here where I live, but lo and behold, I had them with me that day. I could have said no and moved on, but for some reason I said yes. I pulled the pack and put it to give it to her. Sorry, I'm trying to. She walked up to me and took them out and said, "Thank you." Like any sane person, I asked her what her name and class was so I can retrieve the crayons back later. She seemed so confused for a second, like a genuine confusion for muttering something to herself. I asked again, and this time she responded with Amber from class 2C. After that, I let her go and I went back to my art class, only to realize that I had left my pencil box back in class, so yay to that. My class came to an end, and I went to the class 2C and looked for the kid from the opened window that allowed a clear view. Didn't see her. When the teacher noticed me and asked if I needed some, I told her the story of the girl. Oh, I got chills. The story of the and the name of the child. She seemed so confused. She looked around the class with a describe of the child and gave her before looking back at me, saying, I got the wrong class. Her confusion was now passed on to me, and I said the girl told me to meet her in this class. The teacher was nice and even called out the name Amber out loud, and still the girl wasn't there. Odd, but I thought she was the young girl. I didn't know her class properly, big deal, and went to find her in other classes. I checked the first grade classes, second grade, and even third grade. Before I knew it, I searched the whole floor, first floor, even though she couldn't have been on the fourth or fifth grade, even given her right speaking manner, but still, you never know. Again, I let it go because the school had so many kids that it was hard to keep track of, and I decided to try again the next day. Next day rolls around, no trace of her. At this point, I'm not even panicking about the girl not existing. The girl had my expensive crayons. I just wanted them back. 3 days of trying, nowhere to be found. She just straight up didn't exist because I went to the fucking principal and pulled up the attendance record to find her. Not a single person matched Amber. Oh, I got chills. Like,
Why are you going
well,
to the principal's office for one and looking up someone on?
you need to know these things. I
Yeah, but
remember
how
the
old is the kid?
story. I remember the story. I was gonna tell you. Okay, just remember it's the Cove House. Okay, and then I'm gonna tell you in a minute. But oh, sorry. Let me finish this. So, long story short, my crayons were stolen by an entity. I'm not even scared about meeting someone who straight up didn't exist. That girl had my crayons. I cherished those crayons because those cost double the amount, and I had to beg my mom to get them. So, if the soul or whomever entity I met, may I please have my crayons back? Please, they cost a fortune. Now, some questions you might have. Did I tell my parents about it? No, because I was scared of getting scolded for losing my crayons. I didn't eventually tell them when I was in grade 10, but again, the sixth grade me wasn't risking it all the time. Did you try the school's camera footage? Our school didn't have one. Did she give you a did she give you a fake name? Probably. Maybe the girl exists. Again, I searched the attendance records with the principal, who was kind enough to do that. Shout out to the principal, and they had photos attached to it. No one matched her face. Again, could be me being delusional. The I'm crazy, nothing is real kind. I sort of don't like things, don't take things serious and make them into a joke all the time. Maybe the thing wanted to make me the clown for a while. Um, it says GG entity. I don't know what that means. I also have a long story of living in a possible haunted house with a joined family, but that's another story. If there is a ritual to get crayons back, please do let me know. I haven't forgotten them since 7 years. Thanks for reading. Oh my gosh, somebody buy that girl some crayons.
And not the cheap ones.
Not the cheap ones.
She needs some good old crayons.
I bought
Uh, You know what? I got you. I went to Hobby Lobby the other day. I'll go get you some fancy crayons.
Hell yeah. So, okay. I'm pretty sure I told, because I tell you all my ghost stories, but I know we're coming on to an hour, but I have to tell you. So, when I lived in Cove in the big house, 3 bed, 2 bath, right? The Cheryl's old one. So
Mhm.
okay, so there was always something weird in her house. Like you could always feel it. I would see like a little boy kind of just through, whatever. Well, this one took the cake because I remember, okay, this started because the night before or a week before I was moving in, she had left all her stuff there.
I
So
remember. Yeah.
there was some stuff that needed to be fixed. And so I was like, let me clean up the house before I move in. And so when I was on the phone with her, it was like 9 or 10 at night. I was talking to her and, I was just kind of going through the house. I was talking to her, telling her, okay, this is done, yada, 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 normal conversation, because she's called me all the time. Well, I looked to the left. I swear to Bob. Oh, sorry. I saw like this room. She had the playroom for the kids. I looked. Oh my God. There was a boy there. And when I tell you, he was so white. He looked like he like just came out of the ground. Like he had just he was completely flushed. And he looked at me and I was like, fuck no. And I was like, on the phone. And she's like, what? And I'm like, I can't tell you. And I'm like running out the house, barely locked it, get in the car, get down the road. I'm like, no, it's too dark down this road. Let me get away from the deer and then I'll tell you because it's too dark. It's too dark in my car. I can't tell you in my car. This is dark. It was too dark. So I get close to home or whatever. And I'm like, Cheryl, and I told her what I saw, and she was like, I knew the house was haunted. You're always seeing shit, And I'm like, I know, but this one's different, This one is scary. So I was like, hell no, I'm not going back to that house when it's dark. I may not even move in. And then I was like, something confirmed I was going to move in. So, but anyways, okay. So there was that occurrence. That was like a huge deal because I've seen a lot of ghosts. Never seen him that flushed like that. He had like, I don't know. I wish I could draw stuff and I could just draw it out for you. But anyways, so I got a letter in the mail from this. It was like Caden. It was like Caden something. I'm like, so I asked Cheryl, I'm like, hey, there's a letter from like for Caden or something, and I said that sounds like a young guy, like a young kid's name, right? And she's like, yeah, it's probably just the previous owners, no big deal. I couldn't let it go. I couldn't let it go because I had not seen this name, and I had been hearing things, and I have David and Cheryl to back me up on it. On in the ceiling, like you would hear things, something like walking around, and I was like,
Could have been a cat.
that's what everybody said. They thought, okay, it's either a cat or a raccoon or a bird, but David went up there several times. And then later on, I eventually grew up the courage to go up there. But David would go up there. There's no holes. There's no way to get in. There's no way to get out. There's just no way. So I was like, that's weird. And then, I had even looked at the possibility that a homeless guy was up there. You know what I mean? So, because later on, after all this stuff occurred, there was a guy that would come look in the window, and that's a whole nother story. The first,
No, because I was there for that. One of those, remember?
yeah,
Because it was like tapping on the window or something, and I went
hmm
outside to check,
and
and I
every
was
single
like,
time, even when Levi was there, I went out there and it nobody was there. It was like the weirdest thing. And so, anyways, this kid, Caden, right? I did my research. I Googled, and I got all the records and I looked at it. So, Caden was he was autistic. He grew to be a whole adult. Um, he did not pass. He did pass away, but he didn't pass away in the house. And so after that, everything, once I figured it out, it kind of like, I'm not gonna say it slowed down because there was still somebody looking in my window, but other than that, everything just kind of. I was like, I see you, Caden. I think his name is Caden. Pretty sure. Isn't that the weirdest thing? That's what it reminded me of. But anywho, oh, I know I'm talking your ear off. So
No, you're fine. I'm listening.
well, we are coming like way onto an hour. So I hope everybody has a good night. Stay spooky, and
Next week.